Hello everyone! I was just outside reading a book for posting and I realized looking around that there is some Japanese knotweed in my yard. And this is an invasive species that is one of the most spready, evil invasives in Vermont. And so I thought I would show you how you can identify it in your yard and maybe even manage it so it stops growing. So this patch right here is what early spring Japanese knotweed looks like. So the number one thing when you're looking for knotweed is that it loves disturbed areas. So you can see it's right here on the edge of my lawn. So this grass is always being kicked up. There's lots of seeds and things spreading around. So this is a great place for knotweed. It loves areas like this that are edges. It loves the edges of roads. And it loves the edges of rivers too, where there's always lots of erosion and eroding banks, because it loves the sun and it can sprout really easily. So it just roots right up. If you're taking a closer look at something and you're not quite sure if it's invasive knotweed or if it's just a weird tall asparagus plant, you can go for a closer look and you see it has these big leaves, and in the summer these leaves get so big. And that's the main problem with them, is that these leaves get so big that they block out the light for all other plants below them. And another thing you can look at when you're determining whether it's an invasive knotweed or not is this very specific type of, well, it's not quite bark, but this stem. You can see this purplish tint, and that is usually what I use as my guiding spot for knotweed. Is this very odd, eerie, purplish tint. You really don't see that in many other plants, and it's all the way down. And even as this plant gets older, the spotting goes away a little more, but you can still see it. And if you look down, you can see that it really just pops right out like that. And it loves growing in stands like this. So in order to defeat the knotweed in your yard, you will need a tarp of any size, and you will need some sort of saw or loppers. And I think I'm going to do a bit of an experiment over time to show you how the tarp will really help out. So I'm going to smother the cut stands, probably over there where that little bit is, with the tarp so that they don't regrow. And then for the ones over here, I will just cut them back, and then we will see over time how each grows back. Alright, so here I have my tarp placed over some of these knotweeds that I cut, and then in here I have some more that I just cut normally. And I know it doesn't really look like much change, but that's because I left it right there because I don't want to spread it anywhere else. So I think I will come back in a little bit being a few days, and we will survey and see how this part underneath the tarp is doing compared to this part that is just in the open air. And we'll see which method ends up treating these best. Hi everybody, it is 10 days later and I am returning to the site of my management earlier. Here is where the tarp is, and as you can see, all around us in only 10 days and no rain in that time, no water at all, the knotweed has grown much taller than me. So we'll look here and see how the tarp looks compared to the other area. So this is the part under the tarp, and as you can see, it did not fare very well, which is just what we wanted. All of these stalks are now browned and brittle and dried out, and they probably won't resprout anymore. Whereas the ones I cut here, you can see some stalks, and this is a really good example. You can see I cut these stalks, and there's one right here, this little guy, that has grown back in just 10 days. And here's another one. So there's that one, and it says, well, nothing's covering me and stopping me from getting light, so I might as well try again. Whereas these ones are all covered. So if you don't cover up your knotweed, it looks like it'll grow right back. And it'll get really tall. And as you can see, there's that area in here that I thought earlier was dead and wouldn't resprout, but you can clearly see that it is alive and better than ever. So I think the conclusion we can come to from here is that if you have knotweed, cut close, low to the ground, then cover with as many tarps as you can.